22nd Annual Sports Hall of Fame induction at the University of Central Arkansas. This really is our favorite weekend of the year. We love to recognize our former greats, and so glad that families and friends are here to join us today to recognize them. Before we begin our ceremony, I want to reflect and call out the names of those who passed away this year, our members of Sports Hall of Fame. In alphabetical order, from 2017 class, Coy Clark. From the 2011 class, Tom Davis. From 2014, Charlie Eagle. 2012, J.E. Lawrence. 2015, Jody Musgrove. 2002 class, Ken Stevens. And from the 2011 class, Bill Ed Tyner. All right, we begin our great ceremony with our customary walk of honor as our current members who are here today participate, and they will line up and make a wall for our new inductees to come through. A line, not a wall, thanks. All right. We begin with the first class, the class of 2001, Bobby Tyner. Class of 2002, Randy Huffstickler.
Don't put me on another list yet.
Class of 2002, Richard Martin. Class of 2003, Mike Isom. And Mark Turner. Nice. Class of 2004, Charlie Limley. Also, Natalie Martin Schock. Natalie's also walking for her father-in-law, Perry Schock. 2005, Curtis Burrow. Sean McGehee. (2007) Cliff Garrison. (2008) Jay Fox. Eldon Hawley. Jennifer McClendon Andrews. (2010) Otis Chandler. Ernie Miller. 2011 Leroy Danjo. 2012 George Jones. 2013 Jerry Joe Harrison. 2015 Buzz Bolding. Alan Perry. 2017 Tom Howard. Tim Woods. 2018 Laura Abbott. 2019 Byron Bailey. Woody Cummins. Richard McCauley. 2021 Greg Dunseith. Robin Smith Everson. Ted Yoder. 2022 Harold Lewis. and Vance Strange. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your current members of the Sports Hall of Fame. Let's welcome today's inductees. Not present today, inducted posthumously, Saville Johnson from the 1920s. For softball for the early 2010s, Melanie Bryant. From the late 60s in football, Charlie Combs. For football and track from the 1980s, William Franklin. For men's soccer, 2000s, Daniel George. From the 2010s for women's basketball, Megan Herbert. For administration and for coaching basketball from the 90s and 2000, representing his father, Coach Arch Jones. This is Arch Jones, Jr. And from the late 70s for football, Tom McConnaughey. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your current 2023 inductees into the Sports Hall of Fame. Thank you. Thank you. I want to welcome to the podium our Masters of Ceremonies today, one of our own, our Hall of Fame member, Dr. Woody Cummins.
Thank you. I'll let everybody get seated. Under the banner of Arkansas Normal, Arkansas State Teachers College, State College of Arkansas, and the University of Central Arkansas, this institution has fielded competitive athletic teams since 1907. Each year we honor selected individuals that have demonstrated extraordinary performances representing our school in the field of athletic and sport. This is our 23rd class. Thank you for being here. We appreciate you being here for this very special ceremony, and we hope you enjoy your whole weekend. Right now, I need to call Coach Richard Martin to the podium, and he will deliver our invocation.
Good morning. Let's bow our heads, please. Most Heavenly Father, I just want to thank you for letting us together this morning for the Hall of Fame banquet. God, I just thank you for all the families that's here. Bless the ones that's going in and bless the families that's for a safe travel home. And I ask you to bless the food for the nourishment in our bodies. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen and thank God.
Thank you, Coach. Now we're going to give you a little instruction about how we're going to feed ourselves. You see at the back of the room, we have the buffet table set up. On each end of the room, we have our drinks. We'd like to start with the outside tables first. If the outside tables could begin to serve yourself, then please follow on all the way through. And enjoy your meal. Please continue with your meal, but we're going to start the program. We have a great deal on the itinerary. Our next speaker is Dr. Houston Davis, the 11th president of the University of Central Arkansas. For the last 8 years, Dr. Davis has provided outstanding leadership. We've seen great increases in student population. We've seen an expansion of our academic programs. For sure, his leadership has provided us with a vision for the future, and we're excited about it. Two of the things I'd like to tell you about, most recent things that have happened here at the university, is first is UCA Now. 8 years ago, we began an effort to raise $100 million in 8 years. Well, it was remarkable, everything that happened. Actually, we raised $109 million, and we did it 8 months earlier than the deadline. There's even some other good news included with that. We had over 18,000 individual donors. We also, the last 6 years, the UCA Foundation has raised over $10 million a year. It's just remarkable about how many good things are happening to our university. And Dr. Davis and the staff are not limiting themselves to that. Last week, they made a new announcement. This one is called the UCA Commitment. I've got to be sure and get it. It's only been about a week old. The UCA Commitment, in case you have not heard about it, it will allow a qualified student from Arkansas whose family is $100,000 or less the opportunity to graduate from college debt-free. If my father were alive and I told him that story, he'd say, "Stop lying to me, boy." That is truly remarkable. That's going to have an impact not only on this university, it's going to have a tremendous impact on the state of Arkansas. Please welcome to the podium our president, Dr. Houston Davis.
Well, thank you, Woody, for those kind words. And there are a lot of great things happening at your university. We're just very, very, very proud to be able to be a part of that and build on great traditions and a very, very, very bright future for this place. Speaking of very bright, did you know that this class that we're about to put in shines so brightly that the Cosmos said they needed to do a little something about it today? As we walk out of here today, the moon is going to be moving in front of the sun. I don't know if you've seen, we're having an annular eclipse. It'll be about 65% effect here in Conway, but you might need these. We don't usually just carry around eclipse glasses that are branded UCA Bears, but we're getting ready. April 8th, we'll have a big festivity because there will be totality here with that eclipse. I'm going to have some of these, and if you are so inclined, as you walk out, 11:55 is the moment of totality. And if Brad and Woody do everything right, we should finish up about that time, and maybe we'll have something to look at. I'll have them sitting right up here at the top of the table if you'd like to have those. But let me tell you, don't look at it directly as you're walking out the day. That would not be wise. What I want to say, three things. First of all, to our guests that are here, the family and friends that are a part of this, we are proud to have you on our campus. Some of you, this may be the first time that you've been on the UCA campus. Welcome. It is a place that we think is very special to be able to live and work and do what we do. It's our honor and privilege to have you here, and we hope that you'll have a great experience. To all of our returning current Hall of Fame members, you are part of the building blocks that are the foundation of this institution. When we put out to the world who we are, what we do that's of excellence, we absolutely make certain that we put the outstanding Bear traditions out there, and you're a big, big, big part of the story that we have to tell and the narrative of excellence that there is. And to our newest inductees, I always tell my students that the biggest honors and best honors you get in life are those that your peers give to you. Those are the honors that really mean the most because they know the work, the time, they know the amount of excellence that it took for you to be exemplary in that. You have been chosen by your peers. You've been chosen by current Hall of Fame members. You've been chosen by those that know what excellence looks like. And it's not just on the field and on the court. It's everything that you did in representing this university during your time here. So we owe a debt of gratitude to you, and thank you, congratulate you on the day. Proud to have all of you here. Thank you, love you. Go Bears.
As I mentioned earlier in the program, the UCA Sports Hall of Fame was initiated to recognize the extraordinary performances in sport. The way it goes about, there are nominations turned in to a committee. The Hall of Fame committee then reviews those nominations, and they do a validation process, and they go through and identify those people that will be inducted each year. Well, I tell you this because our first inductee really created some unanticipated challenges, not only for the committee, for the athletic staff. His name is Saville Johnson. You'll see his picture in the game. Now, what's special, one of the special things about Mr. Johnson, he was a four-sport letterman: football, basketball, baseball, and track. Not only was he a four-sport letterman, he did it for 4 years. And in addition to that, which is remarkable, he was All-State back in 29 and 30 in football, and All-State in basketball in 30. So truly a remarkable individual. Well, it's usual and customary when someone has passed away that we induct them posthumously, and we have a representative of their family participate in this ceremony. Well, the staff has even gone so far as to link up with the Ancestry.com. Really, they've worked real hard on this. We found out that Mr. Johnson had a wife named Martha, had a son named David. We even found out he was drafted and served in World War II, but we've been unable to find a living relative. In fact, we actually got a link. I think you got a link one day last week, didn't you, Jesse? But anyway, the committee decided that he needed to be inducted into the Sports Hall of Fame. And so in absence of his immediate family, we thought he should be inducted with his UCA family. And so the committee is pleased to submit the name of Saville Johnson for induction into the UCA Sports Hall of Fame. Let's give Mr. Johnson applause.
Person in his class here was Dr. Silas Snow. He was in that class with Herbert Johnson. He later became president of UCA while I was going to school.
Yeah. Well, we found out some very interesting information about Mr. Johnson, and I know the committee is very pleased, and I think from the looks of your faces, you're very pleased that we could induct him into the Hall of Fame this year. All right, for the remainder of our inductees, we'll follow a little different procedure. I will announce their name. I will direct your attention to the video board. There they will be introduced. Once the introduction is finished, they'll come up here and receive their award, have a picture made, and then I know we're all anxious to hear their response. Okay. Our first inductee is Melanie Bryant.
My name is Melissa Bryant, not only Melanie Bryant's teammate, but her twin sister as well. I was lucky enough to play alongside her for 4 years. Melanie has always embodied what a true leader is. It comes natural to her. Her number of accolades only say a little about how great she is. We walked onto campus together, both knowing we wanted to be nurses. We walked into the nursing school's advisor office together and were told there was no way we could balance softball and the rigorous demands of nursing school. While walking out, Melanie mentioned something like, "I can't wait to prove her wrong." And that is exactly what Melanie did. She excelled both on the field and off the field. She was always one to show up early and leave late, even if I was her ride and was ready to go. She has grit and determination that everyone on the team admired. She always knew what to say to pull the team together to help us accomplish the team goals. I think the highlight all of our teammates would remember is that of a storybook ending. On senior night, we were playing at home and we were down by 2 in the bottom of the 7th inning. The first batter was walked and the second batter got a base hit. It was my turn to bat. I remember thinking to myself, I'm gonna win this game for us. Well, that did not happen. I was walked and the bases were loaded, which leads Melanie up to bat. Melanie blasts a walk-off grand slam on her last at-bat ever at UCA, a true storybook ending. I am more than honored, proud, and excited to welcome Melanie Bryant into the Sports Hall of Fame. Congratulations, Mel.
I told myself I wasn't gonna cry. Don't want my eyelashes to fall off. I actually thought Coach Shock was gonna introduce me. I didn't know Melissa was. That was very sweet. There are a lot of words to describe this accomplishment, the feelings and emotions. This is what you dream of as a child. I am both humbled and blessed to receive such an honor. First, I want to thank God. I want to thank Him for blessing me with my athletic ability, for my family, my coaches who have pushed me and molded me to who I am today. I would like to thank my parents, I could not have done this if it weren't for them working endless hours to get us to practice, to pay for those uniforms, to pay for the countless travel ball expenses. Thank you for sacrificing your time, burning up in the heat of the summer, and driving us across the nation each spring and fall to play in these tournaments. Knowing now how much everything costs, there is no way I could ever repay you. I would also like to thank a few coaches who have helped me achieve this great honor. Coach Tommy Phillips, also known as the Cool Coach. He was our Little League baseball coach. Yes, we played boys baseball, because we all know softball was for girly girls. We had short hair and thought we were little boys, and everybody did as well until we pulled our baseball socks off and our toenails were painted. Coach Tommy would pick us up and take us to Sonic to get our favorite slush while we jammed out to rap music that our parents would never let us listen to. He would take us to the ball fields and hit his balls and pitch to us. His dad oversaw the trustee inmates who did community service at the ball fields, so they sometimes joined us. It's kind of funny to say that I got to practice with the inmates growing up. Coach Tommy has been a big supporter and fan, so thank you, Coach Tommy. We decided to grow up a little and realize that softball wasn't just for girly girls who couldn't hit, catch, or run and steal bases. We started playing softball at the age of 10. We sometimes had bad attitudes with black hearts, as my mom would say. All my mom's prayers paid off when we met Coach K. Coach K has made a huge impact on my life. She taught me discipline, respect, dedication, commitment, the value of hard work, humility. The list goes on and on. She never yelled. All she would say is, drop down and give me 20 push-ups, or maybe do wall seats until my leg would fall off. We had several come to Jesus meetings on the futon in the back of her facility that made me a better person and player. She was definitely a heaven-sent angel to the Bryant family. Thank you, Coach K, from the bottom of my heart and my parents' heart. I want to thank Coach Kewen for trusting me and offering me a scholarship to come and play here at UCA. It was the best decision I could have ever made. Some days were much harder than others. Early morning weights and conditioning, catching bullpen all afternoon, the dreaded study hall, and nursing school. Little did I know it was only helping me become a better person and player. There were times I wanted to quit, but Coach Benny would talk me out of it. She was my rock while playing here at UCA. She always knew when I needed a funny joke or a confidence booster. Her hard work and dedication to the program wanted me to be a better person and player. She made me want to play my best and to even practice on my off days. We had endless amount of bullpens that I really enjoyed, but man, I'm starting to feel them. Coach Benny, if it weren't for your genuine loving support, I would not be standing here to receive this award, so thank you. Coach Parsons, you were the missing piece to my softball career puzzle. You finished molding the athlete and person I am today. Thank you, and keep doing amazing things out there. Thank you, Brad Teague and the University of Central Arkansas, for giving me the opportunity and allowing me to play ball at the collegiate level. Thank you for allowing me to attend nursing school while playing ball and for making those extra sacrifices to allow that to happen. There's one person I absolutely cannot forget. I cannot forget the most important person who helped me stand here today, Melissa, my twin sister. She played for UCA as an outstanding middle infielder as well. She could be up here with me. If it wasn't for her getting on base almost each at bat so she could tell me where the pitch was going to be, I probably would have struck out. This award is a direct result of us working together to be an excellent teammate. Rondé Barber said it best. Without her, I wouldn't have had the daily reminder to chase greatness. The inherited competition, the motivation to match each other's accomplishments, and the unwavering, unconditional support that only a twin knows about is what drives us to be successful in all that we do. This award is a result of us working together. I cannot tell my story without telling our story. Thank you for being the best teammate, the best sister, and my best friend. I love you, Mom. I love you, Dad. God bless and go Bears.
Our next inductee is Charlie Combs.
I'm Bobby Hill. I'm a friend of Charlie's, and we started UCA the same year as freshmen and roommates for 3 years. Charlie grew up in Pine Bluff and was a star defensive player for the Zebras. He came to UCA and started 4 years for the Bears. I know when I always dreaded when Coach Bright had first against first. It was I always dreaded it because of how strong our defense was, and the two, Charlie and Kelly Dunlap, were the best two defensive ends in the conference, and I can still remember the crashes when we had to go against our own defense. Charlie was a very successful coach and athletic director in South Carolina after he graduated. He's married a sweet lady, Jenna, his wife, and I'm again proud to introduce Charlie into the UCA Sports Hall of Fame. Thank you.
I'd like to thank the selected committee of the Hall of Fame for giving me this honor. Certainly proud, and thank Bobby Hill for that eloquent introduction. I want to thank all the coaches that I've played for, primarily my high school coach, Coach Utley, and Coach Bright here at college. Made me want to be a coach when I saw the impact they had on everybody. It's something that, you know, if you're a coach, you understand that. And growing up in Pine Bluff, we were so poor one time, my brother got a flashlight and I got the batteries. And never really want to be real rich or real poor, and coaching's allowed me to attain both those goals. Football has been my life since the 4th grade, and football has given me my life right now. I want to thank all my friends and family here. I've got 27, 30 people came from from Kentucky, South Carolina, Virginia, all those places, and it really means a lot to me. Love you, mean it. And it certainly is an honor to be here and to share this moment with y'all. Thank you very much.
Our next inductee is Mr. William Franklin.
My name is Franklin Holbrook. I'm with the UCA football team, 82 to 86. It's an honor to be here this morning to introduce to you William Mr. Bill Franklin. When William called me and asked me to introduce him, I thought about how would I talk about a guy as great as Mr. Bill. I think is important is how did he get the name Mr. Bill? And the reference to that is, if you watch Saturday Night Live in the 80s, they had a skit by a little clay guy. And Mr. Bill always, when something happens to him, he always used that little sound, oh. And then that's why we reference when Mr. Bill tackles a running back. First thing out of their mouth is the little oh, all around the stadium. So how I met William Mr. Bill Franklin is I was a freshman coming out of junior high. Coach told me that I was going to dress out with the varsity team. And I was excited to be over there with the big guys. We were setting around the office, getting ready to get dressed and get prepped for practice. And then they were having construction on building a gym. But you can hear clack, 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 clack going on, and I'm thinking, wow, all this work going on around practice, we might not be able to concentrate. But as I was getting closer in line, we were running a drill, and I kept noticing, hearing the clack, the clack, the clack. It got louder, and I'm thinking, man, that construction workers are really going in. Then as I began to realize, I started seeing guys coming from the front of the line to the back of the line, fixing their shoulder pads, doing this and straightening the helmets up. And I was about 2 guys behind. And then I realized what was really going on. This guy was clacking his own linebackers, y'all. I mean, boom, every player go up. And I'm thinking, whoa, I gotta tighten my pads up, tighten my helmet up. And I said, I'm not gonna let this guy beat me. All I can remember is Coach picking me up and saying, Hollywood, great job, great job. And I'm looking at it like, what just happened to me? I mean, my helmet was spinning around, my pad was upside down, and I'm over there trying to fix myself and get back in line and say, and the guy, one of the guys, Malcolm Ford, said, boy, you took that lick. That was my first day playing with the varsity and my first day of meeting William Franklin. And one of the things that we as a team realized is that William was a constant, steady, machine-like performer. There was no ifs, ands, and buts about William. He played football and he protected his area. His dedication to the team was all about performance to the highest level. Right now, he's still reigning as #1 in tackles for the NAIA. And that's a big task, a big accomplishment. So, and it's well-deserved with William Franklin. We're all proud of you, and we want you to enjoy this moment. And on behalf of UCA, welcome to the Purple, where legends live forever. UCA Hall of Fame. Thank you.
First of all, I'd like to thank God for allowing me to be here today to accept this very prestigious award. Also, I'd like to thank Franklin Hollywood Herbert for that warm introduction. Being here today in such great company along all the other Hall of Fame inductees is truly an honor and a privilege. I want to also thank my family, friends, teammates, and coaches for making this moment possible. I also like to thank the UCA Athletic Department for putting this Hall of Fame ceremony together. The University of Central Arkansas has been very good to me. It's where I met my beautiful wife of 36 years, Elizabeth Franklin. She's always been by my side here, supporting me, and I'm so proud of what we built together. We have 4 children, 3 teachers and 1 doctor. Okay. Oh yeah. So many people have played a pivotal role in my playing career, and however, I name a few. My high school coach, Grafton Moore, is one of those people. Grafton Moore became head coach when I was a senior. I was starting linebacker in my junior year. He became head coach when I was a senior. He expected me to be great. You know, he expected me to be a leader and team captain. Coach Moore pushed me to be the best version of myself on and off the field. Also, another person I like to highlight, a teammate of mine, the great Harold Lewis. Harold and I played 1 year together in high school at West Memphis. We played 2 years together at UCA. Harold has always been a great friend, linebacker, and mentor. It is truly an honor to join him and all the other UCA Hall of Fame inductees. One of the most memorable and funny moments of my time at UCA, I would have to say, was during practice years ago.
we were tasked with doing tackling drills. I was matched up with a good friend, the late Gerald Burnett. I was widely known as one of the hardest hitters on the team. So quite naturally, everybody was kind of anxious to see how that would play out. We lined up across from each other, the coach blew the whistle. I hit Gerald so hard, he was laughing, shaking, and holding his head. So then the second time the coach blew the whistle, I hit Gerald even harder. He was laughing, shaking, and holding his head. So after the play was over with, he removed his helmet, and every single pad fell out of his helmet. So needless to say, it was all in good fun, it was a good laugh and everything, so lighthearted moment. And this is what I remember from all these years. So also I would like to thank a few coaches. They impacted my career. The late coach, Ken Stevens, head coach, Homer Stout, D-line coach, Coach Sharp, Coach Martin, Coach Kerr, and head coach Harold Horton, Mike Isom, and Coach Riley. Finally, I'd be remiss if I didn't take a moment to shine light on this person. I wouldn't be here and who I am today without this amazing woman, my mother, Betty Franklin. My mother has always been my greatest fan, and after games in high school, she would cheer me on, tend to my sore muscles. This award is dedicated to you, and I am so glad you could be here to share this moment with me. All the blood, sweat, tears shed on the gridiron made this moment very memorable. Seeing this come full circle with this honor is extremely humbling. Thanks again to everyone for making this event possible. Thank you very much.
I wanted to reassure Mr. Franklin that when I was introduced up here, and I failed to introduce my wife. It's a lot easier to get out of failing to account for all your children. Our next inductee is Mr. Daniel George.
Hello, I'm Joel Harrison, former men's soccer coach here at UCA, and it's my honor and privilege to introduce to you Danny George. Before I speak about Danny, I just want to congratulate all the other 2023 inductees. Amazing accomplishments and that cap on your career. As you can see in the program, Danny has been named to numerous things and lots of accolades and honors throughout his playing career. Three-time All-Conference, three-time All-Tournament team, only player to ever have that done, NSCA All-South Region, Player of the Year, or Athlete of the Year at UCA, also named to the All-Decade team for the Gulf South Conference in 2010, as well as being named to, I believe it was 3 different all-academic teams during his career. All of this hard work doesn't come or happen overnight. It happened through Danny's dedication and commitment to getting better and being the best he can be, and that didn't just happen at UCA. That was in his youth career, his high school career, and here at UCA. A couple stories to share with you about that. First would be a story that kind of follows Danny from his hometown of Midland, and he probably doesn't know I know about this, but he did destroy 2 fences at a park. And no, they weren't acts of vandalism. They were acts of hours and hours of practice, where Danny would go out to practice different feints and moves and then strike the ball against the fences if it was the goal. Or he would just work on striking the ball, manipulating it, bending it, curving it, making it depth. Again, hours and hours of practice, which I greatly appreciated. I probably can't say the same for the Midland Park District, appreciating him destroying 2 fences. Another example would be his freshman year, coming into preseason. You know, you have 2 and 3 practices a day. It's a tough time physically and mentally for everyone. You're just, between sessions, you're trying to rest and recover, get food, maybe get treatment. And Danny was spending other 30, 40 minutes on the field after sessions, which concerned me and the other coaches. So we spoke to him about it. And of course, he looked at us like we were crazy because this was normal for Danny to put in hours and hours of work. He said, "I'll be okay, I got it." And of course he was. No problems. He never any injuries and was always at training ready to go. I also reached out to one of his former teammates, Adam Woznicki, fellow Texan, and here's what Adam had to say about him, and excuse me while I read it because I want to get it correct. Adam stated, "His knowledge and love for the game was like nothing I'd ever seen. He was constantly moving on new feints, tricks, and schemes. I was inspired to do my school video project, Ballet with a Ball, about Danny because he didn't just talk. He showed up every day to compete and get better." For me, as a coach, you always have players and they have special moments. And there were numerous special moments with Danny because of his abilities. And so I would really kind of lump them into one story where as a coach, sometimes you're going, no, 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 or you're thinking it, or you're like, what is he or she thinking? And there were a lot of those with Danny, but they are always followed with looks of disbelief of how did he do that? Or how did he see that? Because he had tremendous technical ability or was a very skillful player, but he also had great vision and awareness and understanding of the game, of seeing passes that others didn't see or movements that others didn't see that would help create scoring opportunities for him and or his teammates. The last story I'll share with you is what I call the legend of Danny George, and he's never heard this story, but I left UCA for an opportunity in the pros, was back in the college games a couple years later at St. Leo University in Florida, and we had the possibility of playing UCA as we were the #1 seed in the region and hosting if both of us made it to the final. In preparation for that, a couple players came up to me after practice the week before and said, "Hey, we've heard about this player, Danny George. Is he still at UCA?" And I told them, no, he's not. He graduated a couple years ago. And there was clearly a relief on their face that he was not playing anymore. And then I thought to myself, man, what an impact he had, and a great compliment to him that these kids at a school 1,000 miles away are still talking about him, and he hasn't played in 2 years, or he finished playing college in 2 years. Tremendous compliment and legacy of what he did on the field for them to remember that. Danny, it was an honor and a privilege to be your coach, and congratulations on a Hall of Fame career.
I can't believe all you guys are here. Seriously, you guys came from all over. My folks came in, my wife's here. Whatever I might have done while I played here, it didn't merit all that. Thank you. All right, I did write something. Let me try to read it. When I arrived at UCA nearly 25 years ago, the college and the surrounding town to me seemed almost organic, like they had sprung up from the earth rather than having been built upon it. It doesn't look that way to me now, but that's progress, and everyone is probably better off for it. But I still prefer what it seemed to be in my day, as one often does. Not having traveled a good deal outside of West Texas back then, UCA struck me as a classic small-town American college, like Thoreau and Emerson's Herbert might have appeared some 150 years before. It likely was not, but I had no way of knowing, and first impressions tend to hang around in the mind with some tenacity, and so the college back then remains for me that archetype to this day. As far as the soccer team went, we usually played our games in front of a scant few dozen folks, if that, on hot Arkansan Friday and Sunday afternoons, when the people with better things to do were off doing them. And 10 minutes after a game ended, few beyond the coaches and players on the field cared much about what had happened. As Updike might have observed, the only thing at stake, really, was the tissue-thin difference between a thing done well and a thing done ill. And I loved that, and I still do. And I am grateful for the people who raised me to care so much about simply doing something well. And I appreciate the college for giving me the opportunity to do so. And I hope, by some extension, there is also recognition for those guys I played here with, who went about their work the same way as me. Thank you.
Our next inductee is Megan Herbert.
Hello, my name is Matt Daniel, and I was the head women's basketball coach at the University of Central Arkansas, where I was honored and now today have the privilege of introducing Megan Herbert into the UCA Sports Hall of Fame. Meg, with all your statistical accomplishments and your achievements on the floor, one stands out to me that kind of speaks to the type of person that you are, not just the player. It's the two-time national NCAA Woman of the Year nominee. It just speaks to your approach and how you treated people throughout your career. But rather than to get into all the achievements, I thought two stories kind of stood out to me as I reflected back. One, we're at Sam Houston State. We get beat. The season wasn't going how you and I either one imagined. Instead of going to the back of the bus, you sat up front with me and cried on my shoulder for the 6.5, 7 hours back to Conway. And after that, we went on a run that no one will ever forget. The second story is I've never shared. After I left UCA and went to Marshall, I interviewed at the University of Arkansas after 1 year at Marshall. In that room, I was asked the question, could Megan Herbert have played at the University of Arkansas? My response was immediate. Who's the coach? They looked at me kind of funny, and the room kind of balked, and I was asked, what do you mean? I said, Megan Herbert could play for me anywhere. I'm so honored and glad to be a part of your day. I cannot tell you how much respect I have for you, the way you approach the game and every day. I will push back on one thing, however. The other day when you asked me to give this introduction, you said, Coach, I wouldn't be here without you. Meg, I think you have it a little bit twisted. The University of Central Arkansas women's basketball program would not have done things over the last decade without you. Today, it is completely backwards. I wouldn't be here without you. Enjoy your day. I love you, Meg. Congratulations.
Okay, well, told myself I wasn't gonna cry, and we didn't even make it up here first. Oh gosh. So first, I just want to thank the committee for being up here. It's really an honor. I mean, it's everyone's dream, but especially mine. Basketball was everything to me. So thank you so much. Dr. Teague, Dr. Davis, thank you so much. I wouldn't have changed my career anywhere for UCA, and I mean that with all my heart. So I think it's funny that he mentioned Arkansas. Okay, so there's a lot of people I need to thank, but I'm gonna go in order, and I'm gonna start, and I'm gonna stop crying. But Coach Rimmer, not gonna stop crying, but thank you for all that you've ever done for me. Funny story, I will never forget coming to Shiloh as a freshman, and we had like a practice game, and you did not start me. And I still remember that today. That's the only game I have never started in my whole entire life. Not that I remember very specifically what game and who we played and how you told me. But for me as a player, I think that spoke bounds to who you were as my coach, and that's how I respected you. And from then, of course, I started the next game, and the whole world was fine. But just how you always pushed me, you were a champion for me. You were not afraid to, yell at me or make sure I was doing my best every single day. And something that I tell everyone, and I still very much live by, is you've written on many things for me, but you always said, be better off the court. And Coach Daniel touched on that as well, but it's something I just want you to know that has really stuck with me. Man, waterworks. Next is Coach Waters. You also pushed me a lot when Coach Rimmer was also pushing me, but you were always there for me. I'm so glad you're here. we've become very close as I've gotten older, and you've helped me through a lot of tough times, but you were also there to always push me and just always support me up, down, high, low. And just to give everyone a little backstory, I was not a very emotional player. Off the court, I was very nice and would do anything for you, but on the court, I was probably the meanest person you've ever met. I have knocked out many of my own teammates' teeth. I have broken arms, body limbs, I mean, you name it, and I felt really bad about it, but like in the moment, I just wanted to win. It just speaks a lot to just always support and just have that, and that got me to UCA, and I thank both of you very much for that. Very humbling experience, because from high school to college, it was 20 and 10 every single night. Couldn't, stray from it. So I think y'all very much set the precedent of always be humble. Next is Coach Daniel. I will never forget, called me, and I was like outside swimming or something. He's like, "Do you want to play basketball for me?" And at that point, I had no D1 offers. A lot of people, when I would go to camps or clinics, they would be like, "You're not tall enough, you won't score in Division I, you're not fast enough, you're not skinny enough," the whole process. But Coach Daniel believed in me. He believed in the vision. When I went to school here and I played, we were going through the Division I process. So we were newly Division I, and things were a lot harder. And I just remember him always being that support, and he had this vision of what all of this was going to be, and he knew I was going to be the one. And a story about him is my first real practice at UCA. Of course, I was a freshman, and we brought a lot of freshmen in, and your game has to change as you elevate levels. And I was just holding the ball, and no one ever took the ball from me. And this girl came up and took the ball from me, and I was so distraught, 100%. But then also he took me back to half court and turned me around and was like, "Meg, what are you doing?" And I was just I just couldn't fathom that this just happened to me, because it didn't. And he was like, "Don't ever let that happen again." He's like, "You can do this, and I support you, and I'm here for you, but you cannot let that happen. You're at a different level. You have to up your game." And I will never forget that. And that was my very first practice, and it just shows his support and love for me, and also that, through our highs and lows of the season, that he always believed in me, and he had the vision of who I was going to be at UCA. And I remember that Sam Houston game a lot. They were definitely an arch rival, and we lost. So it was not pretty for me whatsoever. So that was not good. But my next person I need to thank is Coach Kemper. Whoop, whoop, new basketball coach. I'm so excited that you're here at UCA, but I'm also so excited that I got a couple years with you before you left. I owe a lot to you. I don't know if you remember this, but you were the only person who ever worked with me on defense one-on-one. Was not my specialty, but Coach Kemper was like, "You have to be great all around." And he pushed me to be great all around, and we worked on my defense all the time, but you also taught me how to post up and post moves, and there's just so much that I gained from you being there, and I really, really appreciate that, and thank you for that. Next, all of my friends and my family that have always supported me. If you look at the table, Steve, Josh, Steve-O, all of y'all, I am just so thankful that you're here today, but also that you were here through my career, that you always were a champion for me, that you supported me. A lot of y'all got to see the highs, the lows, but at the end of the day, you were always there and just made sure that I was okay. And whether that was maybe getting me a Dr. Pepper when I needed it, or a Gatorade, or when I forgot a toothbrush on the road, something like that. Y'all were always there for me, and I'm just so glad that we got to go through the experience together. Lastly, I can't be here without my parents. They poured, y'all poured everything into me to make sure I was here. They were my biggest supporters, my biggest fans, anything and everything I needed. They brought it to me, made it here. I think y'all have still the most travel record of anyone at UCA. Whenever we traveled, it didn't matter whether it's to the Bahamas or Corpus Christi, no matter what, y'all were always there for me, and you always made sure that I was taken care of, and I just can't thank you enough for it. So I'm gonna stop crying and just thank you so much. You really made me get here to this point. And lastly, I just want to thank everyone for being here. Hall of Fame Week wouldn't be anything without everyone showing up and attending this every single year. So it's a really great honor, and I am so excited to now say that I'm a future, or not a future, but I am a Hall of Famer at UCA, and thank you so much.
Our next inductee is Arch Jones, be represented by his son, Archie.
My name is Ronnie Martin. I'm here to introduce Coach Arch Jones to the UCA Sports Hall of Fame. I know Arch Jones from the time when I got to UCA, 1984 to 89, as the assistant coach. He would motivate every player on the team to be a better player and a person. He would personally take you to his house, talk to you, motivate you to be the greatest person you could be. Arch Jones was also known to be a good head coach from Phillips County. I remember when the guys used to tell me that played for him that he was the greatest coach they ever played for. The guys from Phillips County would brag about how Coach Jones would do them and how he played the offense. I remember his kids that he used to bring to practice with him, and they used to watch us practice every day. I remember Miss Artie Jones, his wife. She was a cheerleader coach at one time at UCA. Coach Jones was a good individual, a great father, and a great person, a great role model for all us players that played for him. I worked with Coach Jones during the summer camps. He used to have basketball camps at UCA. We worked together on a Scottie Pippen camp, and he was a great facilitator in putting and organizing people and bringing them all together. So Coach Jones was known for putting people together and organizing the organization. I'm honored to be here to introduce Coach Jones to the UCA Sports Hall of Fame.
All right. Thank you so much. It's great to be here. It just feels like home. And I think you can tell by the remarks of the other inductees that, this place gets into you. It gets under your skin. And I can see it in the faces of all the people out there that you know what I mean. It's good to be home here at UCA. And I want to thank President Davis for preserving that, and Dr. Teague, because that means a lot to us when we come back on this campus. Tradition never graduates, and that is one of the things we can be proud of here at UCA. Thanks, Dr. Davis, thanks, Dr. Teague, thank you, Woody. Jesse Taylor, outstanding job. Steve East, thank you for helping me get things together. Want to thank the committee for the great work that you do. I know it's very difficult because there's so many deserving people out there in this bare nation. So thank you. Want to thank all of the members of the Hall of Fame. Just being out there in that hallway this morning as you all were lining up, man, what a room, what a room. A lot of outstanding folks in that hallway that paraded out here in front of you, legends for sure. And then all of the inductees today too, as well. Thank you. I'm honored and privileged to be a part of this. Big A's family is here. I'm sorry, Dad. A lot of people around here knew him as Big A. Family at his table today is my wife, Deborah, his grandson, Archie, granddaughter, Caitlin, dear friend, Dr. Kathleen Atkins, Big A's grandson-in-law, Adam Wiley. Everybody knows the magnificent Darrell Walsh, and two of his beloved former student athletes, Sean McGehee and Mark Turner, are here with us to help us celebrate. You know, Woody told me I could talk as long as I wanted to, as long as it wasn't over a minute. So I got to get this. I got to get this going. I think about my dad every day in some form or fashion. But you know, preparing for this day was quite a joyful experience for me to reflect on a man whose legacy was filled with such happiness and inspiration. And a couple of things came to mind that a lot of people in this room that knew him. I had lunch with a dear friend of his, you know, a little over a month ago, and he said, you know, I think about your dad often, and I miss him. He was just a great guy to be around. It's what he said to me. And as I visited with former players over the last several months, and colleagues and friends, you know, that seemed to be a resonating consensus there. He was a great guy to be around, and I agree with that. And some of his players would probably agree with that too. But you know, for me and his players, it probably wasn't. He wasn't a great guy to be around 100% of the time, because that usually had something to do with maybe a mistake we'd made and the feedback that he had about that. So. Okay, these are the jokes, people. Okay. You know, and he was dedicated to making a difference in the lives of the people around him. And he was raised by a single mom, and his high school basketball coach, Stuart Dobson, a lot of you all may remember him. He went on at Harrison High School. He went on to coach at Arkansas Tech, but what a role model he was for my dad. And that inspired him to go into coaching and dedicate his career to making a difference in the lives of student athletes, just like his life had been impacted over those years. And I mean, I could go on with, you know, Bill Stevens here at UCA, that was such a mentor for my father. But he had dedicated his life to making a difference. I've told this story a lot, many times, but I had a 10-year span here at UCA on staff, and a few days into that role, I was introduced in a meeting. And at the end of that introduction, they said, well, you may recognize the name. Arch's dad is a legend on this campus. So I saw Dad later in the day, and I, you know, conveyed to him, hey, you know, Dr. So-and-so, you know, said you're a legend on campus. And he said, oh, well, that's just wonderful. And so I talked to Mom the next day, and she said, Arch, the next time somebody on campus calls him a legend, would you please not tell him? He's been walking around all day. Well, the legend will have his breakfast. The legend will be going to work out now. The legend will be taking a nap. So I'm sure up in heaven today, Mom is rolling her eyes as he's walking around saying, the Hall of Famer will take his lunch now. And so anyway, our family is so deeply touched by this. And you can't believe the joy that we have, and just the love for UCA that we have. And, in closing, I'll just leave you with this. And this is something that he taught me, he taught my children, and several people throughout the decades, is that be a blessing to all that you meet, always encourage others, and remember, we are all more alike than we are different. Thank you so much, and go Bears. Our next inductee is Tom McConnaughey. Please look at the video.
Okay, well, I'm Vance Strange, and I'm here to introduce into the University of Central Arkansas Sports Hall of Fame, Tom McConnaughey. Tom actually was a legacy to the University of Central Arkansas, or ASTC, or SCA, and we had sent him some letters because he was a legacy to take a look at what we had to offer here at SCA, the University of Central Arkansas later. He did a great job at the junior college level, and decided to follow his dad and his uncle and coming to UCA. So it was a blessing for us. It was not a real formal recruiting effort as much as it was a legacy or something to continue on with in the family tradition. Of course, Tom came here and distinguished himself not only during the 2 years that he played, he distinguished himself as an all-AIC competitor, first team, great hands, had the ability to get open. I'm sure that he would tell you that his speed was not that of a real wide receiver breakaway, but he knew how to run routes and get open. But anyhow, I think that what Tom did was just grow, became not only physically a better specimen, but also in his leadership roles. I think he was Fellowship of Christian Athletes president here at UCA, and a team leader. He accomplished a lot of things, and then the opportunity came for him to enter professional sports. It was really a great opportunity for him, and he started out, I think, with the New Jersey Generals of the old USFL, and then went to the Jets, and then the Saints, or vice versa. But anyhow, he was in the mix for professional football, and again was an outstanding receiver playing for those professional teams. He also decided after college and playing pro football that he would go into coaching, and he coached for 9 or 10 years, I believe, at the high school level and so on. And then he got into scouting for the NFL, and this was a career that he stayed with over the years and still is doing. So he started out, I think, with Blesto V, a scouting combine, and then later went on to some of the pro teams, of which he stayed with the San Diego Chargers, now the Los Angeles Chargers, for, gosh, I guess about 25 or 30 years. And now, currently, he's one of the head scouts for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Not only has he had a distinguished career in the football arena, but he also had it in the leadership arena. You know, it's a great opportunity for us here at UCA to welcome into the UCA Sports Hall of Fame, Tom McConnaughey.
Hey everybody, it's Kenny Main, just trying to join in from long distance on Tom McConnaughey's big night, my old friend. He told me that he was a legend down there like 45 years ago, so essentially you've run kind of a full life practical joke on him, waiting decade after decade. He kept waiting for the call, and he finally got it, so it's cool that he's finally being honored, something he so richly deserves. I wish I were there in person. Tom spoke so highly of all his time down there at Central Arkansas, and it's where it all started. He went on to play pro football, then he wanted to be a scout for decade after decade, and now he's coming back to where it all began. Hope you guys have a great night. Sorry I couldn't be there. Thanks for having me, even if I'm not there.
Wow. Thanks, Vance, for that introduction. And Kenny, he's a piece of work. Kenny was my off-season arm when I played, and just a great guy. He wasn't famous then. He was just trying to make it in broadcasting, and later became an ESPN legend himself. Vance actually recruited me when I was in high school. Coach Stevens had played with my dad here, and so it was really easy for me when I was looking for a way out of the University of Oregon, because we went to the Veer offense, and I wasn't quite fitting into that. So this became my option, and it was a really good one for me, a great decision for me to be here. But it was easy because I had my dad go before me. He was 49 team and the 52, 53, 54 team, with an interruption there because he went to Korea. Was on the front lines of Korea for 2 years and came back here and played. But my mom was also a student here and was homecoming queen in 1953. And then my uncle played here. He transferred here from Oklahoma State and was a running back here, led the AIC and rushing for 2 years in the early 60s, 60, 61. So it was easy to come here for me. And Coach Stevens was really good to me. We had a fabulous team. I think there's like 10 or so guys that are in the Hall of Fame from that era, 78, 79. And then I was a GA 80 and 81, but just a couple of pro guys in there too. David Evans, Monty Coleman. We had some really good teams. In fact, I think we lost 2 games in those 2 years I was here. We tied 2 games. And when I was coaching as a GA, we lost 2 games. Winning was expected. There was a high expectation. So it's something that helped me get to where I got to, a dream to play pro football. But before I get into that, I want to introduce my family, because I want to make sure I introduce my wife, and I'm damn sure not going to miss one of my kids. Sherry, my wife. Monica is my daughter. She's a Music City Bowl executive. And my son is a high school football coach, Donnie. He's also a high school baseball coach. And then my cousins are here, Slade and Sally. Raish is in here somewhere, and my grandson is back somewhere. But my grandson, I've already talked to Nathan about him. He's an early commit to the class of 2040. He's supposed to be 6'5" and 250, so I'm thinking tight end. And then my Aunt Susie, who is my dad's youngest sister, and she's here. They're all from Missouri, and then my family's, we all flew down here from Seattle. So I grew up in Seattle. I was born in Texas. My dad was a high school football coach there after they graduated. 1 year at Norfolk, then he went to Amarillo, and we wound up in Seattle, and that's why I have the Seattle background and still live there now. After I got done playing in 1985 with the Vikings, I wound up locating there, and it's been a good spot for us because I was able to coach for 11 years there, 9 at my old high school as a head coach. Hardest job I ever had or ever will have. High school coaches are just a blessing. I think it was our whole staff taught math and science all week, and then we had to win a football game on Friday night, and it was hard. So anyway, that turned into a connection I had with scouting, and I'd always wanted to be a scout when I got done playing, but I was too young. You had to be old and gray hair to be a scout, and now it's just the opposite. If you have gray hair, no one's going to listen to you. So it's changed a little bit over the years, but that turned into Bobby Beathard hired me as a scout from the NFS Combine, and I've been in the NFL for 28 years now. 25 years with the Chargers, 43 starters I had something to do with, and a lot of free agents each year signed. And it's been fun to see those guys grow and become players. And we do what I do for a living is I evaluate people, and the hardest thing I do is not the football part of it. It's what's here and what's here. That's the hardest part of figuring out how the guy's going to be as a pro football player and a person, and we're interested in that. It's not just the football part of it. And so it's been a real blessing, and I wouldn't have been able to have any of that journey if I hadn't been here. There's no way. My dad and my parents believed in me. I had some coaches here that believed in me. Coach Stevens, Coach Holly's here, Coach Martin's here. They worked us hard, and there's a few guys in this room that were on that team. 78, 79. In fact, why don't you guys stand up? If you're 78, 79, 80, 81, stand up so you can stretch your legs at least. There we go. Let me just tell you a little bit quickly about how good those teams were. We weren't very big, but we went through a lot of hell in the off season. So it was in January, February, it was mat drills and hour of everything you got. And it was the worst part of college football for all of us. And then we couldn't wait to get to the spring. And then we battled for 20 days and couldn't wait for the summer. And then the summer was brutal. So our nutrition program didn't exist. It was a handful of salt pills and a big steak before you played. Probably two of the worst things you could have put in your body before a game. But they worked us hard, and we did. A few of us remember this, and we've kind of coined the term now. But after practice, we'd always run over to look at the practice. We're talking about a whole team of future coaches playing football in college together. It was kind of incredible that way. But we'd always get over to the locker room to see the practice plan early, so we could see what we were in for. And in those days when we practiced, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays are brutal. And we couldn't wait to get to Saturday so we could get some rest. That was that bad. But it was just once we got through it, though, it was something that was expected. We would look at that practice plan to go back to that and see what else we were going to have to do. And at the end of the list, Coach Holly remembers doing this because he's the one that wrote it. There was always some Bears, and your name would be underneath there. Now, it wasn't because you screwed up or missed class or been late to something. This is, we're going to check your whole card for a little bit. And so the Some Bear Club, when I first got here is what we called it. And Brooks Hollingsworth and Billy was on it for quite a few times. But we just coined the term because we just realized that every day they were going to check us. And sometimes you got a day off, sometimes you didn't. But we turned that to Some Bear Club. And it's really kind of interesting to be up here today to say that because the real Some Bear Club is right here. And you guys are legends. All the names I've heard, some of you I got to see play. And I've obviously scouted the last few players out of here too. So it's been a real interesting journey, and it's kind of neat. I probably have another year left in me before I decide to hang it up, but it's been a good run. We're excited at Jacksonville. We had a turnaround season last year and came back from maybe the worst season ever before that. And last year we beat the Chargers, my old team, and I had my fingerprints on that team and this one too. And it was neat to see our guys, battle it out, win. Then we played the Chiefs the next week and lost that, but we were just a game out of it from being in the AFC Championship and the big games. So we think we have a real good chance this year. We've got a really good roster. If you get a chance to watch us, please do. But again, I want to thank everybody for having me here. It's almost, you stand up here and you kind of go, wow, didn't think this would ever happen. But I want to thank President Davis and Dr. Teague for having me here, and it's really good to see all the faces and teammates again. Thanks very much.
This has been a great ceremony, hasn't it? Let's give these folks another hand. The next person I want to introduce actually supervises over 500 student athletes and staff members at a division level 1. There are 19 sports he supervises. Now that's a lot of work. 500 students, 19 sports, Division I. But the most important thing to me, you're supposed to work hard. The most important thing to me is that for the 11 consecutive years, now listen to me carefully, the student athlete cumulative GPA average has been above a 3.0. That's remarkable. That's remarkable. You may not have done it, but you had somebody do it, and that's important. He's also served on national and conference committees. I think he was the chairman of the subcommittee over national playoffs. There's all kinds of things he's done well. And I guess you'd have to classify him a winner. But the most important thing, he's our athletic director, and we're darn proud of him. Please come up here and discuss.
Sit down. Well, that was new. That's the first time you've introduced me to provide closing remarks.
That's the first time you paid me.
Oh. You didn't have to tell everybody. I think I'm going to blame Matt Whiting for that. Matt, did you set that up? I'm thinking you did. And I thought the 11-year streak was how many times I beat Matt Whiting in a row. But you're talking about GPA. By the way, 3.2 is the GPA. 3.2. That's big time. Big time. We've got some smart young men and women. Hey, how about this inductee class? Wasn't that great? Wow. Melanie, I only cried 5 times when you spoke. Thanks for that. Yeah. I mean, really? Thanks a lot. That was good. No, it's emotional, and I love hearing everyone speak, and boy, I learned so much every year this weekend. It's just great to hear all of our tradition. I love what Arch said, tradition doesn't graduate. That is so true about the University of Central Arkansas, and thank you. Man, the remarks are great. How about our selection committee to put this together? Would they stand for us, please? Those of you who are here, please stand. Thank you, guys, very, very much. What a great group. Our athletic staff who put all this together, but especially Jesse Taylor. Thank you, Jesse, for all you do for this group. Steve East, thank you for everything. Chase, thank you for all you do for our creative. This is going to be nice. And by the way, all the photos and the video and everything that we do this weekend, you're going to get a copy of, all of the inductees. So for memories, right? President Davis, thank you. Thanks for being here. Thanks for supporting us. Thanks for always being around. And the innovation you have for this campus is incredible. Thank you. You know, our tradition, it's amazing. I mean, we are Division I, yes. We are great, yes, because we've been great for 100 years. I mean, it's amazing what this tradition has for the University of Central Arkansas, and I'm so proud to be a part of that and to be around great people, and thank you. Some reminders about the rest of the day. So we're going to take a group photo. Maybe over there would be good in the open area. Yes, okay. If you guys, before you rush off, if you would just make your way over here to our right, let's get a group photo, please. Then be with your families, and don't forget that we have tailgating going on throughout the day, but at 3 o'clock, be in our Hall of Fame room on the west side, as we discussed, and we'll do for families as well. Please, families, come for that. We're going to have our Hall of Fame ceremony, a brief ceremony in our Hall of Fame room, and show you our virtual displays for your Hall of Fame members. Then kickoff is at 4 o'clock. At 3:45 on the field, Please all be there by that time. We're going to have our pinning ceremony on the field in front of the fans there at the stadium. And then you're free to go and have a great rest of your day. So football games at 4 o'clock against Stephen F. Austin. Hope you'll all be there. And, man, have a great rest of this weekend. And go Bears.